The Adventure Deck system is a card-based combat game with RPG elements that can be played anywhere, solo or with friends. The Adventure Deck system was inspired by a camping trip with my son. We both enjoy traditional dice-based combat games, but during the aforementioned camping trip, I was struck by how difficult they are to play anywhere. There's a lot of setup: table, dice, minis, books, maps, etc. Not to mention the modern requirement of plugging in with electronic devices just to sit and play at a table with your friends. Even if you don't plug in, what happens when your dice roll off into the grass or the river? I have actual experience with dice rolling off of tables and under seats on a bumpy overnight train ride. This is among what inspired me to make a 100% card-based combat game with RPG elements that doesn't even require a table. At most, it requires your hands and maybe a couple of pockets to store your decks. It can even be played while standing up. Unlike other card games in which you do battle, you do not summon creatures to fight on your behalf. Your combat deck and persona deck is your character, which is unique to you. Using your 60-card combat deck and augmented by your persona deck, you engage directly in combat according to the skills, spells, and attributes that you construct your combat deck with. What is unique about the Adventure Deck system is that it incorporates chance and strategy using a combination of drawing from your constructed combat deck, the combat rondel, and the up-down system. This, plus simultaneous actions and instant resolution mechanics, create fast-paced, exciting combat that can be played anywhere without dice, a table, or any other accessories. During combat, only cards from the combat deck are used, which typically include weapons, armor, shields, attributes, skills, spells, magic items, and more. Cards which can be used to build your combat deck are easy to spot. They typically have a combat rondel or a large attribute icon in the upper left-hand corner. The combat rondel represents the rounds during play, with light numbers on a black background denoting the primary rounds for the associated card, and black numbers on a light background denoting secondary rounds, if secondary rounds exist for that particular card. Secondary rounds can be played normally. They are just an indicator that they are a lesser effect of a card, typically lower damage or defense. Light numbers on a light background show that the card is unusable in the round indicated. Above, and sometimes below, the combat rondel is a damage or defense icon. The arrowhead icon indicates damage, and the shield icon indicates defense. Always match the color of these icons to the color of the current round on your card. If there is a fiery outline to either the rondel or the damage defense icons, then this means that the card effects, damage, or defense is ethereal. If there is no fiery outline, then it means that the card and its effects are physical in nature. To begin playing, set aside the cards that are not in your combat deck. You can keep them handy to refer to during play. First, select any 4 cards of your choice from your combat deck and put them in your hand. Then shuffle your combat deck face down and then draw 3 more cards to place into your hand. You should have 7 cards in your hand. Add your weapon card, which is not discarded when it is played. A single weapon in your hand does not count towards your hand limit. For example, if you are carrying a sword and shield, then you should have 7 cards plus your weapon card, which is your sword. As you play, you will have 3 main areas to pay attention to: your draw deck, which is your combat deck that you draw your hands from, your hand, and your discard deck. The 3 of these collectively are still referred to as your combat deck, but are referred to individually to help differentiate them during play. The Adventure Deck system instant resolution mechanics are handled within a continuously looping rondel-based scaling system, consisting of 6 rounds in the combat rondel. Rounds are cyclical, meaning that when the 6th round ends, it resets to the first round. During each round there are the following phases: draw, recall, normal action, reaction, resolution, discard. You draw cards from your draw deck until your hand is back to 7 cards, not counting your weapon card. If you already have 7 cards in your hand, not counting your weapon, then you do not draw any cards. You pay the recall cost on discarded cards to recall them to your hand. All players reveal the normal actions and boost actions simultaneously. Creatures also play the normal actions simultaneously with players. Normal actions are denoted by the N hex icon in the center of the combat rondel. Boost actions are denoted by the B star icon in the center of the combat rondel. Players and creatures typically play only a single normal reaction and a single boost action per normal action. All players reveal their reactions and boost actions simultaneously. Creatures also play their reactions simultaneously with players. Players and creatures may play 1 reaction per normal action that targets them, or they can react to such as defending another player or creature. This means that despite only having a single normal action round, they may play multiple reactions. However, players are still restricted to a single boost action per reaction phase. All effects, including damage reduction, are resolved. Subtract or add hit points as necessary. Discard any cards that were played, except for weapons, which stay in your hand. You may discard additional cards from your hand if you wish. Once the discard phase is complete, it is now the next round. If combat is concluded, you may draw in preparation for the next combat encounter. Creatures utilize a virtual deck on the combat side of the creature card, which uses the up-down system to determine each creature's actions in the normal action and reaction phases. Each creature card also contains additional information such as the creature's hit points, skills, spells, weapons, armor, coin, and more. Just like with player cards, match the color of the round to the creature's normal actions and reactions. Then, if there are instructions to draw a certain amount of cards for the up-down check, then do so, and use the match or default state to determine the creature's normal actions and reactions. Players and creatures inflict physical and ethereal damage on each other, and reduce damage by using physical and ethereal defense. Physical damage is caused by things like swords and arrows, while ethereal damage comes from spells and other mental effects. Physical defense can reduce or negate physical damage, while ethereal defense can reduce or negate ethereal damage and typically physical damage. There are various ways to defend oneself, such as dodging, shields, armor, and magical abilities. The usable distance for each skill, spell, creature ability, and more is shown on each card, or on the round it is usable. Players and creatures can replenish their hit points, HP, by using Fortitude attribute cards or other abilities, skills, and spells. The round number, R, is a variable that can be multiplied, divided, added to, or subtracted from according to the card's language. Rounds may be used to calculate damage addition or reduction, how long a certain effect lasts, and more. The up-down system is a method of randomization in the game without using dice. You can use the up-down system for a number of situations, including but not limited to countering skills, spells, abilities, and more. Determining creature normal actions and reactions. Determining the outcome for situations and attempts at actions not covered on the cards themselves. You can use either your combat draw deck or a dedicated up-down deck to draw the cards. If you don't have many cards with which to play, you can substitute regular playing cards with red hands for the down arrow and black hands for the up arrow. Players navigate through rooms represented by map and room cards. Room cards have maps and descriptions telling you about the room, how many creatures are in it, and what their tactics might be, treasure or loot in a room, and navigation to other rooms. The usable distances for weapons, spells, abilities, etc. are listed on each map and room card. If a card does not have a distance listed, it can be played at any distance. If a player's card or creature action or ability does not match the distance on the map or room card, then they must declare an up-down and then match it in order to play their card or ability successfully. If they are not successful, then they play and discard that card or ability without it taking effect. Upon defeating creatures in the rooms, or by outsmarting them or defeating the encounter in the room, players may add treasure and loot to their persona deck. Thank you for taking the time to learn about how to play the Adventure Deck system, a veteran-owned and operated project created and produced in the US.